Hello and welcome to the University of Nottingham. Today we're going to be considering the question, why study theology in the arts and humanities? In that context, I should introduce myself a little bit more. I'm Peter Watts and my PhD, my research is in the area of New Testament theology. You could call me a theologian. I don't often use that term, but you could call me a theologian. But at the same time, I'm also director of something called the Arts Foundation Programme at the University of Nottingham, where we provide a foundation year for those going on to study in a wide range of degree courses across the Faculty of Arts. At this stage, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Dr. Doug Ingram. Now, Doug also is a theologian, but like me, works in the area of foundation as a teaching assistant on the Foundation Arts Programme. So we're both interested in theology, but also in the wider context of teaching in the arts and humanities. Now, a common experience for us as theologians, for us as administrators and teachers on the Foundation Arts Programme, is for parents actually to come to us and say, why study theology? Why study history? Why study English? What does it lead to? What benefits does it bring? So I particularly want to think about the question of theology within the arts and humanities. First of all, we're thinking about why study theology at all, but much more broadly, what value do arts and humanities degrees have? What do students gain from the experience of studying theology and the arts in general? So can you give me your initial thoughts on this, Doug?
Well, I would want to step back and just make sure that we know what we're talking about. So to throw it back to you again, Peter, what are we talking about when we talk about theology? Are we just talking about God? Because I don't believe in God. Yeah. So why would I? Well, I am. I'm a Hebrew Bible or Old Testament theologian. Is that not a contradiction in terms?
I think it's a crucial question. It's a crucial question, which is what is theology actually? And academic departments in the UK differ in terms of what they offer. Here at Nottingham, we offer theology and religious studies. So broadly speaking, that theology is indeed Christian theology, looking at the Christian theology right from the very beginning with its origins, with Jesus and the Gospels and the disciples and the New Testament, all the way through to 21st century theology and how that shaped the world. But yeah, very much Christian theology. But we also study Islam. We also study Judaism, and in a broader sense, looking at how religion impacts the world and so on. So in that way, theology is perhaps the most diverse of all arts and humanities subjects. It encompasses everything because it's about God. And there is, whether or not one believes in God, God is the highest concept, the overarching concept. Even for some of our colleagues, God is defined not in the classical way, but in a different way. God could be, in 21st century terms, money. God could be in 21st century terms, celebrity. So theology, I think, it's important to show the diversity of theology, perhaps as the broadest of all arts and humanities subject. And perhaps that starts to give you a way to answer the question as well.
Yes, and I think a key aspect of theology for me is about how people relate to however we understand God. So a key aspect of theology is not just a focus on a divinity of some sort or a greater power or whatever, but it's a focus on what it really means to be human, which of course is fundamental to the arts and humanities, in that the humanities is all about exploring from as many different angles as we can what it means to be human, and hence humanities. The arts are about, I suppose, representations of humanity in all sorts of different ways. So humanity is fundamental, and God clearly throughout history has been an important aspect of what it means to be human for a great many people. So that has to be a key question. And one of the things that we look at in theology is humans' understandings of themselves, whether that is in relation to God or indeed otherwise. And when we're looking at theology, we want to employ the tools that we share with our colleagues in other humanities departments in order to address that question, as well as the question of, well, what is the God that many humans throughout history have tried to relate to?
So I think this is crucial, the idea of understanding ourselves as humans. Whatever perspective we come from, whatever faith, whatever philosophy, understanding ourselves as humans in relation to something greater, but equally having the ability to understand somebody who does come from a religious faith, a religious perspective, how they understand themselves as human, which is crucial. Not that they're wrong and must be dismissed and anything. This is a dangerous move. Theology actually is crucial in that sense.
Indeed. And perhaps we're more aware of that today than we ever have been, or perhaps we ought to be more aware of that today. We talk about globalisation, and one of the aspects of globalisation is that we're encountering people from all over the world instantaneously through social media and in all sorts of other ways, and we have a much greater awareness of similarities and of course of differences. And a key aspect of studying theology, as well as studying other arts and humanities subjects, is that it does help us to gain a greater understanding of ourselves, but also of other people. And a key aspect of studying the arts and humanities is engaging with views other than our own, and being prepared actually to change our views as we encounter other views. Not that we take on wholesale what other people say, but we compare different opinions and move forward in light of those. So we don't just compare them for the sake of saying, oh well, so-and-so thinks this, so-and-so thinks that, I'll just continue the way I've always been going, but taking into account what different people from different cultures and of course from different religions have to say.
And to make it explicit, you're providing me with an answer to those parents who say, well, what's the point of studying theology? Where does it lead? To make it explicit, those are all skills that are crucial actually in any job. In any job. It doesn't have to be specific to the arts and humanities, whether it's engineering, the sciences. Essentially, we're talking about the importance of arts and humanities within a university context. Science needs humanities, arts and humanities needs science.
And one of the things I would want to say is that as a theologian, and as a non-Christian theologian, but I'm sure it's true of you as a Christian theologian as well, I love being located with colleagues who are studying other humanities subjects, and I feel that it helps me to refine my thinking, to develop my thinking and my views, because I am engaging with people whose expertise is other aspects. So I said earlier that in theology we draw on tools from other disciplines, but there's a sense in which often we're doing that second hand, and to have colleagues for whom that is what they do, that is the area in which they're experts, is a fantastic benefit.
I think this is really exciting. For me, not just as an academic now, but when I came first to study theology, this was one of the thrills. One of the reasons I actively chose to study theology was the idea that I wanted to draw on tools of linguistics, of language learning, that I was interested in history, but didn't want to actually limit myself. I wanted to bring that in, that I was interested in the study of culture. Theology offers that opportunity, but I think it's important, as you say, that it's not just second-hand, that theologians aren't just drawing on the sort of sociology that was being done 20 years ago. So theologians and students of theology, our students of theology, need to be at the cutting edge in the methodology of all the arts and humanities, because theology embraces them all. So in that sense, would you agree that it's the widest of all arts and humanities? Is that pushing you too far?
I would be inclined to say that. Not in any sense to dish other disciplines. And I think what you said about drawing on the expertise of our colleagues is crucial, because there is a danger that, as I think you hinted, we are a few years behind the times. So the way that we use, I don't know, archaeology, for instance, may not be up to date, because archaeology has moved on, and we need to draw on that. But one of the things that I find really attractive about theology in particular is that it does draw on so many different things, and I'm not aware that any other discipline does that to the same extent. So perhaps if you want to experience a little bit of lots of different things, and particularly in a university context, to be able to draw from experts in lots of different things, perhaps there is no better way to do it than by studying theology and religious studies.
Absolutely. So we need our specialist areas, our specialist subjects within the arts and humanities, their cutting-edge research. Theology, perhaps a way of embracing them all. Dr. Doug Ingram, thank you very much.
Thank you.